Hello, and welcome to another Can of Worms episode for the Save It for the podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron, and I'm joined by... Please. No!
Pterodactyl.
It was going so well. I was so focused.
Now you're
Why
thinking about
pterodactyl?
pterodactyls.
Yeah.
Why not pterodactyls is the better question.
Why is the P silent? Why is there even a P there? Oh my goodness. All right.
It's because their urination process was silent. Hence.
Whenever you make a remark like that, I get this urge, I get this feeling to just walk off. Just
walk off.
Just in the middle of recording,
yes.
Just walk out, just walk off. All right, just I don't need this. Just walk off.
Just make sure to bring the mic with you, so we can hear you.
No. Just leave it all behind. Like I'm in South California right now. Just walk off. Walk all the way to Seattle or something like that.
Yeah. It's a long trip, but you
long
do you,
trip.
I guess. Right?
No, it just like I just want to walk away, as away as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Not too sure. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, everyone has that. Everyone has that urge once in a while. Yeah,
they do. They do indeed have that urge.
Yeah, there you go.
I've had that urge. Not on this podcast, but
this is slowly getting depressing. Okay, funny joke. All right. Let me just sip my tea. Hold on,
please.
So, new episode, new Can of Worms episode.
It is indeed. Yes.
And
it is indeed a new episode.
Yeah, and at this point, it's less of a can of worms and more of an elephant in the room because, we haven't been talking politics for a while now. And, boy,
yes.
has it been stacking up. Yeah.
Quite so.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts or opinions that you would like to relay to our audience?
Let's just start out by saying, if anything, the Trump presidency is eventful, full. It's every day we wake up to see a new thing. It's definitely not stagnant, although something is, but we'll get to that in a bit. Oh boy, oh man. Well, where should we start, Neiman? Where should we start?
Where should we start? That is a great question.
Well, the fact that he's trying to undermine the election.
There's that. There is that.
Would that be a sufficient way to start?
Yes, that is a sufficient start to this conversation.
Yeah, there you go.
Thoughts, queries, qualms?
Well, at this point, it's blatant corruption. It was blatant before, but it was at least, people could at least say, oh, that's fake news. Oh, the reports were, dragged out of proportion. Oh, there's no proof of that being happening. Even though, we could say all of those things. This time, with the new, with the new position of Postmaster General being filled by one major Trump donor, and the fact that he's doing everything he can to slow down the mail, yeah, we can say that this is pretty blatant ass corruption.
Yes.
All right,
yes,
it's out there, it's happening. It is just bad.
Oh,
to say the least. To say the least. I know this is meant to be the explicit episode, but if we start this early, then I'm afraid I'm gonna get deflated like a balloon by the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. It's rough.
My goodness.
It's real rough.
It is pretty rough. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some of my water.
Yeah, there you go. We need to sip a lot. Yeah. Jesus.
It's really it's reminiscent of back in my sophomore year, I think, when he was elected.
Right.
And the whole thing of, like Trump rigging the election and, working with Russia and Putin and all that. And that whole thing, I remember hearing about that, I think my sophomore year, pretty sure. Oh,
Right.
yes, it was. Because I remember we were having a rehearsal during election night. So
Oh boy.
that was it was quite the time backstage. But it's really, I think, reminiscent of that, and how, you just see this, when you have to resort even to the possibility that the election is rigged, it most likely is, right? And in this specific instance, right, we're seeing it again, right? Except this time it's a bit more blatant.
Well, I mean,
So,
here's the thing. Like, the radical elements of a country will always claim that the election was rigged, but by the time, but as time passes on and, no evidence shows up, no evidence surfaces, no
right.
witnesses come forth to, claim, support this claim and whatnot, like, it's going to die down pretty well eventually, you know? And one of the reasons actually that Trump claims that, people are going after him all the time, the fake news has it out for him, is because these claims never actually, died down. In fact, they gained evidence, they gained more support from the people because it was a direct possibility and there was some shady ass shit going on in the background. And they're like, people were speaking out about it, there were whistleblowers left and right, and like that's pretty much why there was that clash between Democrats and Trump, because the his administration wouldn't allow people to come forth and present evidence, literally. Like, and and that's obstruction of justice. Like, I don't know what is if that's not it. So it's like, but yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're all
Yeah.
good. No, that was about the extent of my thought there. So,
Oh, gotcha. Dude, oh my
but
gosh, we finish each other's political rambling.
yeah, my God,
We should start a podcast. we
we
made
we
this joke
should
before.
we should start a podcast.
Yeah,
Call
oh
it
my
"Save It
goodness.
for the Politics."
I'm gonna no. If we make an entire podcast about politics, I'm gonna freak out. Like, I don't like. Here's the thing, okay? When we created this podcast, when we started uploading, when we created the Can of Worms episode as well,
Yes,
I was not counting on this being a political
political
podcast.
podcast, right?
Except we either make references to or talk about politics each and every time. And that is Trump's effect. Okay, before Trump, there were entire podcasts dedicated to politics. There was. Oh my goodness. It was a bit more radicalized, I should say, because most of the mainstream media wasn't that focused on politics, considering, they're like it was more of a moderate,
Yes,
right? And like, even most of the podcasts were essentially barking about what the other side was doing in the background. And the claims were anything from having somewhat support to having no support at all. It's just a conspiracy theory, but they were still there. After Trump, on the other hand, politics became so ingrained inside our lives that it's just it's hard to ignore. Like, you literally have to be blind, deaf, and dumb to just not be not feeling the effect of Trump is having on everybody's lives.
right.
And that's
And
and
it's a little unsettling, isn't it? It's a little, yeah.
it's not unsettling if you know what's going on. Like, this is the effect of a degrading country. I
Yeah.
know this because I was, I went through this my entire life.
Right.
Literally, my
Right.
entire life was essentially turning on the news and seeing how, the current ruling party was consolidating more and more power for
Mm-hmm.
themselves. Right? Like that was literally my life, okay? From age 5 to age 17 when I have not even age 7, yeah, not age 17 when I came here. All right, that was my life. For 12 years I've seen my country degrade and degrade and degrade and degrade, and politics became more and more and more and more ingrained in our lives until eventually we're an authoritarian state. There are journalists in prison, and we cannot speak plainly about what we're thinking because who knows who might be listening. This is the effect that Trump is having on America right now. Okay, except
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't have 12 years. He has 4 years, so he has to speed up the fucking process. And that's what we're seeing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is, it's, I personally would use the word unsettling. Um, I think I
Yeah,
understand. I
yeah,
understand where you're coming from. Um, I think it's, how should I put this? I guess it's interesting how, you know, news definitely has been sensationalized within the past 4 years. Um, I think,
well, yeah, we
looking,
have a celebrity in the White House.
we do, right?
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I think, and as I've heard before, right? I mean, people will say that although, you wouldn't agree necessarily with Trump's policies, people can agree on the fact that he has the charisma of a genius in that. What I mean by that is he knows how to use his charisma to his advantage. And as we've seen, it has taken him pretty far up to, the role of president of the United States of America,
yeah,
right?
somehow.
Somehow, right? And so I think it really,
Hmm,
I think that's definitely something to, I guess it's just one of those interesting things to think about how,
right,
someone with such, charismatic prowess, I guess, could, be in a position that, is, warrants not necessarily charisma to be a good person for the role, but, someone who's intelligent, someone who is caring, someone who is, has to do all of these things for a country, right? So I think
right.
it's interesting to think about. And, when you see the news nowadays, right, it's almost like watching, reality television, is essentially
Yeah,
what it is at this point. I mean, I
yeah,
remember seeing, election updates, back in 2016, and
right.
thinking to myself, like, I feel like I'm watching,
Yeah.
a Kardashian
Who's
show.
gonna win the White House? Hillary Clinton or President? Oh, wait, not President yet. Donald Trump. Yeah,
Exactly.
there you
So,
go. Like the little misspeaking was on point too, by the way.
yeah.
Anyway, though, yeah. I mean, I get how whatever he's trying to do can be mistaken for charisma. Um, and let me explain myself in this, okay? Now, he isn't necessarily charismatic, okay? I don't think at the very least, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this is just my opinion. Like
Yeah, of
like
course.
he is an evil, like literally an evil person, but I don't think he has the charisma to go for it, all right? He's definitely not your typical Disney villain.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
If only he could break out into song
Oh,
where he
if only.
lies out all of his evil intentions.
Maybe he would have had my vote if he had some, charisma and confidence and, uh,
Greatest
a
showman,
nice,
right?
a nice cape and a, flowy, flowy
Yeah.
dress or something. I don't know. Like maybe an octopus cosplay, make it, make
Yeah,
himself.
right.
I believe in the past I've been a nasty. All right. But no. My gosh, and now I can't stop thinking about Ursula but Trump, you know?
Ursula but Trump.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Or
there's some, you know,
oh yeah,
political
there's some
cartoon.
edits. Yeah, there's some political cartoon. There's some Photoshop out there that,
Yeah.
does that. But yeah, I don't think Trump is charismatic, right?
Hmm.
He he knows how to rile up a crowd. He knows how to look like what he's saying is from the heart, right? Because he's good at improv, right? I'll give him that.
Woo,
Right?
improv.
Yeah, in the worst possible way,
I know.
right? He's good at
Oh
improvising
God.
his speeches, all right? Not necessarily in a way that leaves everybody happy, but like he knows and chooses his crowd, and like
Yes.
all that matters is that he leaves his crowd happy, right?
Yes.
Like that's how he functions, right? He goes up there, he makes some big old promises, and we're America great again. And, he riles up the crowd. For more. Like, he riles up the crowd, and, like, it doesn't matter whether he says something racist or whether he says something sexist, as long as he can bounce off of that, as long as he can play off of it, he's got this. All right? Like,
Yes.
he just
Yes.
goes with it. That's not charisma, all right? If he did have charisma, he'd be able to, he'd be able to come up with compromise, and he'd be actually able to come up with deals with the other side, with the radical Democrats and the left. All right. But
Hmm.
like, yeah. But you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get what you're
the
saying.
like I don't think he's charismatic. He just has like two sets of skills that he has maxed out essentially and
Hmm.
is using them to his advantage as much as possible. That's
Yeah.
what he's doing.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Um, I guess then we have varying definitions of charisma in this
Charisma. Yeah.
sense. Um, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily, I wouldn't. I guess I wouldn't necessarily define, Trump's, quote unquote charisma, as, someone, like, I don't know, Ryan Seacrest or something
Oh
like that,
no,
right?
definitely
Because those
no,
are two
definitely
different
not.
types
Oh
of,
yeah.
charisma, right? And when you think about, like, I'm thinking about like some charismatic people from our high school, right? Um, like the truly charismatic people, I think, are like you said, right? They're willing to compromise, right? And I think
Yeah.
is really typical of someone who is charismatic. They're
Like
very
when you
adaptable,
yeah,
very
when you say charismatic, what I'm thinking is, someone who might get into trouble with the things he says, but can get out of that trouble without, like pulling any kind of hair or something like
yeah,
that. Like it like I guess mental and social flexibility is what I'm looking for in my definition of charisma, right?
yes,
Yeah.
that is true. Yeah.
Neither of which Trump has.
Right. Yeah, I was about to say, right. I think a facet of charisma is sort of this, I think, charm.
Hmm.
Charm in that, not necessarily charm in the good sense, but charm in that I think what he does well is exactly what you said of riling crowds,
Hmm.
of being very, I guess, particular to a certain group of people,
Right.
right? And it's sort of he's sort of like alluring them in a way, and I
Yeah.
think is one
Not
of
alluring, but more appealing.
appealing.
Like
Yeah, I mean,
because he's literally the physical embodiment of all the hate that's, essentially the right. Oh, let's demonize the right now. The right has.
right.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
But
but yeah, I think exactly what you said of he knows how to I think, work with the masses. I think
Mm-hmm.
not like the masses as in all of the masses, but
Yeah,
he
but
really
like
knows well how to,
the situational mass.
yeah, situational mass and appealing to the mob mentality
Right.
too. Because I think what is really unique about I think our president, especially in these times, is it almost seems like he was kind of this. Now just bear with me when I use this language, right? But it almost seems, and I will explain myself, right? It almost seems as if he's this savior, right? In that
Neiman, you're on thin fucking ice.
I'm going to explain myself,
The
right?
the only
Uh,
reason, the only reason, like I'm only letting you explain yourself because you're so gosh darn cute. All right,
Thanks.
go ahead.
And
But you're on thin fucking ice. Just
I'll
know that.
be even cuter without my braces on next week. But
Yay!
that's a story for a different time.
Oh yeah,
Now, when I use the term savior, here's what I mean, right?
right,
Uh, what I mean is I feel that when Trump came around and said he was going to run for president and had all of these things of, like, we're going to build a wall, we're going to get all of the immigrants out, it was almost, being this in the eyes of the very conservative, very, politically right,
right.
citizen, that he was this sort of messiah,
Mm-hmm.
who was coming in and saying all of these things that were unspoken before,
Well,
and preaching all of these things
to be
that,
fair, he did have the media coverage too. So, yeah, I actually get what you're trying to say. Like a savior in their eyes,
yes, in their
right?
eyes, yes, I didn't mean
Yeah, I
objectively,
yeah,
of
I
course.
actually get what you're trying to say. Yeah. See, here's the thing. The radic. Oh my goodness, the tea just attacked me.
As it
Yeah.
does, as it does.
Yeah, as it does. Like, yeah, the first time he appeared and, during his rallies and all that kind of stuff, like, it was obvious that he was going to appeal to the radical elements of, the Republicans anyway, right? And after a while, after a bunch of, Republican, like, debates among Republicans and all that kind of stuff, you know, it was becoming clear that Trump was the number one choice among all the veterans. Mind you, there were some Republican veterans among them. Poor Jeb Bush, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, poor Jeb Bush.
Wah, wah.
Womp womp. Um, but yeah, like, gosh darn it, that really threw me off. Like, poor
My
Jeb Bush really threw me off.
oh.
But yeah, like he would like even though like never mind his age, he was the rising star of the Republican Party. All right, like he was. See, he was appealing to the radicals of the party anyway, as I said before. But then, right, he did an interesting thing. Instead of coming up with more policies, coming up with more detailed plan of what he was going to do. Instead, what he began doing was he took a single scandal that Hillary Clinton had at the time, right?
Yes, yes,
Oh
yes,
yeah,
yes.
you remember this, all right?
I do
I was
remember
all
this.
the way on the other side. There was an ocean and a continent between me and America, and I still saw through his bullshit. All right. See, he took a single scandal and he played it so well. All right, I'll give him this. He played it so well to make it seem like Hillary was the devil herself. Right? It was like, oh my goodness, what are all these emails that she's trying to hide? Oh my goodness, Benghazi, crooked Hillary, lock her up. Oh my, and like,
Wow, what an impression.
oh,
It's like,
thank
am I
you.
speaking to Trump himself? Oh my
Yeah,
God.
there you go. Like at the time, it did seem like he was doing a power play right there, all right? Because by doing this PR campaign against Hillary, all right, and there have been negative campaigns before, but it was more it was more based on their character and their policies rather than, you know, scandals and how she's crooked and she's evil and she's gonna drive America to the ground. She's
Yes.
the puppet of the lizards of Wall Street. And it's like he took all of these and played it so well to make sure that the radicals of Republicans were loyal to him, all right? And the moderates who were still undecided at the time were loyal to him, well, not royal to him, loyal to him as well. All right? Like that's essentially what he did. Instead of driving people away from him by how like maniacal he was with all the, you know, with all the scandals and oh my goodness and you know, instead he got moderates on his side. Not gonna lie, that was a pretty well played, but now it's getting out of hand.
Yes.
The prank's gone too far.
Yeah,
Like
it's all
literally,
one big prank.
Yeah, I think it was in a Stephen Colbert interview, where Chris Christie, one of the Republican nominees for president, over in 2016, was talking about how he visited Trump in a golf resort or something like that.
Yeah.
And and he thought that, you know, Trump was already on board with all the president stuff, and he literally said that Trump looked at him and was like, "Chris, I think this is gonna happen." And hearing that somehow made me so happy at the time, because like not even he could believe that he was gonna be president. And it's a laughable situation, but it's so bad.
Yes, quite so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My goodness. And it's gone too far. It's gone too far. Please go back.
Oh yeah. If only there was a rewind button.
Yeah,
Right?
Mr. Trump, you got us good. Now
It's like
please.
yeah, it's the
I
biggest.
got
Just
you.
kidding.
I got you. Hold on, wait. I can't do a Trump impression now. My throat is all.
You guys.
I got you. Wait, no. This is just my regular evil voice. Gosh darn it, regular evil businessman.
That's okay.
Voice. There we go. The Democrats. They're so evil. They're so evil. And they've been spying on me. Therefore, I'm going to run for a third term. Did you see that news, by the way?
Which one? Wow.
Trump says he'll seek a third term because, and I quote, they spied on me. Yeah.
Wow. Very intelligent president.
Hello, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Very nice. Are we still recording?
I never stopped recording, but I did note the time of when it did pause.
Yeah, about
so that'll save you some time.
2030. So,
yes,
yeah,
around there.
All right.
So,
thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, damn, we had a good run. You know, like it was.
we did.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's been a while since my internet actually disconnected. So, you know, NSA decided, yeah, right now.
This is enough. Yeah.
Yeah, this is enough. That's enough.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, did you hear the news that like what I was saying at the time?
Of the running for a third term thing?
Trump says he'll seek a third term because, quote, they spied on me, unquote. So yeah, hold on. This is the actual quote. Okay, hold on. This is the actual quote. Hold on. Let me let me get in my Trump voice. We are going to win 4 more years, Trump said. And then after that, we'll go for another 4 years because they spied on my campaign. We should get a redo of 4 years. There we go.
Wow.
That's my Trump impression. Yeah.
What a man.
Yeah.
What a man.
30-minute mark, by the way.
Nice.
Yeetus. Now, we've seen this song and dance before. Like, his cronies are gonna claim, oh, he was just kidding, and like, like, it's happened before. He's, had a suggestion, quote unquote, beforehand, and his people essentially came forward and was like, oh, he's just joking, is the president not allowed to joke anymore, ha ha ha, And I just like to draw attention to the fact that whenever he actually makes a joke that isn't racist and sexist, mind you, right? It's all like, and joke in big quotation marks, by the way. It's always about, like, bending the Constitution, or like, essentially pushing to the limits of what he can do. All right, like it's always a suggestion. All right, it's always a tickle on the limits of his powers. All right, and
Right.
it always gets played off as a joke. But after that, we see a bunch of things that was somehow relevant to said joke. And it's pretty unsettling, to say the least. It almost makes me think that he wasn't joking. Instead, he was trying to learn the limits of his powers because he has no fucking idea what he's doing. But no, well, that might just be me. That might just be my paranoid ass,
Yeah.
Like, I've been brainwashed by the Democratic media, Whoop-de-doop-de-doo.
Yeah, you've been brainwashed, Aaron. That sounds like the Trump I know is the savior and messiah of my children. Okay, he knows everything.
My goodness.
Yeah. I'm just glad he's on the right side of history. I told you that, right? About
my goodness. Yeah, we did talk about
we did
this
talk
in the
about
podcast.
this. Yeah,
in the Republican convention, I guess.
Yeah, it was like the mini Republican convention.
Oh my goodness.
Conference center. Good stuff.
I hate it when older people are like, I'm glad you're in the right side of history. Like, it's such a fucking outdated point of view. You know what I'm saying?
Petty.
Like, it's like, oh, I'm glad you're in the right side of history as opposed to the left side of history. As if we're like, are we still in the 1950s? Is that what's going on? Like, does Eisenhower have your vote? Is that like, is this...
You've got my vote.
Oh my goodness. Like, McCarthy save us all. Jesus Christ. Like, this is just so sad to see an older generation cling on to the values of the past, even though they're fucking horrible. All right, like in the pretext of protecting the free market and stopping communism from spreading. All right, there have been so many human rights offenses and so much governmental essentially abuse of both of his own people and of people abroad. All right, like that little intervention in Afghanistan essentially cost America it stopped one enemy from spreading his own influence and essentially created another enemy, all right? Before then, radical Islamists weren't that much of a threat. After that, all of a sudden, they're militarized with American weapons, and they have it out for America. Why? Because they didn't get the reparations that they needed after the Soviets and the Americans, mind you, bombed the shit out of the country.
Right.
But whoa, ha ha ha, funny joke, ha ha ha, we're not terrorists.
Wow, these transitions are just 10 out of 10.
Oh yeah,
if I do say so myself.
10, yeah. Listen, I don't want to get probed in the ass by the FBI. I don't know about you.
No, I definitely don't want them doing butt stuff to me. No.
Well, now that I actually mentioned it, all right.
Well, now that you mention it, now that I'm imagining it.
Wait, how did that one thing? Hold on. Yeah, there we go.
Wow.
I
The
just
fact that I could even recognize that in
yeah.
beatboxing form is
Yeah, even with my shitty ass shitty ass interpretation. Yeah, there you go.
wow. Just that
Yeah.
it's just so ingrained in our culture
Oh
now, isn't it?
wait, there's a sexist there's a sexist joke hidden in there. Haha, only men can know what this means. Haha. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
My
gosh.
gosh. Are you okay? Allergies?
Sorry, I
Rona?
was about to sneeze. It was one of those fake sneezes.
Oh, oh, gotcha.
And my eyes were like getting ready for the whole thing. So my eyes started watering. So I was like, I'm ready to sneeze. Like, tell
Yeah.
me when you're ready, body. But apparently it didn't want me
It
to
was like
sneeze.
you like your eyelids start flickering and whatnot, and it's like yeah,
Yeah. And then just like
yeah.
for like 5 seconds. Then I never sneeze.
Yeah, there you go.
Um anyway,
Oh my gosh.
Chow. Anyway,
Oh my
so
god. Anyway.
um
Oh my
I
gosh.
don't remember what we were talking about.
Uh fuck the government does. We were talking about oh yeah, we were talking about the mentality of old people.
Oh yes,
And
I did have a
and
comment
I
on
was
that.
essentially calling out America's hypocrisy and bullshit and on how they, they fuck shit up and they, essentially support multi-billion dollar companies interests in the under the pretext of protecting the people from communism. Meanwhile, they're pretty much committing every single war crime possible. Um, oh, I'm sorry, they're not committing the war crimes. Oh no, they're just supplying arms, training troops, and training militias, right? Training militias and you know setting up their own governments abroad. But no, 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 they're not doing anything. No, it's these smaller governments that are doing all the war crimes. Oh no,
Oh
they
yes. Oh
definitely
yes.
cannot be traced all the way back to America.
Right.
Anyway,
Right. Ciao. Anyway, so
anyway, so haha, funny joke, haha, Terraria, haha. I finally got the Night's Edge back, haha. Yeah,
yay!
I got
That's
the
the highlight.
I got the Terra Spark boots too, and it reminded me of the hypocrisy of the Republican Party.
Oh, I bet it did. I
Anyways,
bet it did. Yeah.
yeah, the
Anytime I
hiding political messages anytime we have a decent conversation.
exactly.
Yeah, that's our way.
Yeah. Anytime
That
I'm fighting a creeper, when it explodes, it reminds me of the political explosion of America back in
mm,
2016, right? So,
yeah, there you go. Every time I end up hitting an Enderman in the legs, it just reminds me of how the Republican Party often aims at the legs and fights unfairly during debates and their
yeah,
conversations.
so true.
Putting up straw men and tearing them down under the pretext of um what was it called again?
Which
Oh
one?
yeah, free and fair argument, I guess it
Oh,
was.
yes, yes.
Yeah, clash of thoughts, I think it was. I don't know,
Mm,
it was some bullshit, right?
yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, there you go. Every time I chop down a tree in Minecraft, it reminds me of the hypocrisy of facts don't care about your feelings, but they bring up their feelings every time it suits them. Anyway, though,
Exactly, right?
my goodness,
Um,
how far can we carry this, Neiman?
I mean, as an improviser, I can go on for hours.
Go on, it's
So,
your turn.
my turn.
I already did too.
Oh my God. Okay, well, going every time I go into a mine shaft and see all the cobwebs, it reminds me of the web of lies that are being spewed out of all of the politicians' mouths,
Right,
and all of the stickiness that arises from all of these arbitrary things of like,
right.
oh yeah, we support this policy, and all that. So
Yeah.
there's that.
Hmm. Every time I collect my gold from the tax collector in Terraria, it reminds me of the hypocrisy of it reminds me of the hypocrisy of lowering taxes and, you know, putting up a show about how they're cutting spending and all that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, they're pouring money into military spending without any kind of regard on where it's actually going. Not to mention, they're also raising up, like, private businesses are raising up prices and whatnot, making it harder to live. Even though taxes
Ah,
are down,
yes.
the
Yes.
spending is all the way up. And the income, of course, stays the same as it was 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Go on, it's your turn. Oh
Oh my
yeah.
gosh,
How far can we carry this?
this is gonna go on a long time.
All right. All right. Yeah, this is the
Uh,
political episode. We were allowed to do this.
okay, well, every time I, defeat Skeletron in Terraria, the two unseparated hands, or sorry, the two hands that attack me, right?
You're right.
Really reminds me of the sort of puppetry that the government uses to, control the various departments of the government, right? I feel that,
Even though they're meant to be separate.
even though they're meant to be separate, it's very reminiscent of this sort of, the puppetry of politicians
Yeah.
that they use on each other.
Byzantine political plays.
Yes, exactly, and using these various tactics to do such
That's actually a
things.
good one, not gonna lie.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
There we go.
it helps when, you've taken, and this time, humanities class actually is relevant in
Yeah,
this bit,
there you go.
right?
Yeah.
Because I spent an entire year making arguments,
Yeah,
and
there you
making, bullshit justifications, which
Yeah.
is something you can find both in the humanities and in improv. So
Yeah.
I'm very well trained in this area.
Yeah. Going off of humanities class, by the way, it's my turn.
It
Okay.
is indeed your turn.
Every time I fight the brain of Cthulhu, it reminds me of the hive mind mentality of the Republican Party, not to mention the
Mhm.
Democratic Party in certain instances, on how they claim to defend free speech and free thought, even though, every time one of their top politicians say something, all they end up doing is repeating them like a bunch of parrots. And it just goes one level down and one level down. One government official lies to the
Yes.
media, and another government official lies to the media with the exact same lie without any kind of other detail thrown in there for flavor.
Mhm.
It's not their story. No, it's the story. It's all of their stories, all right, all at once.
So true.
It is in fact a hive
So
mind.
true.
And it's then spoken once again by right-wing media, and then it's spoken once again by right-wing podcasts and right-wing news outlets, and it's just the same gosh damn story all the time. It's the same story.
Good one.
With that, yeah, there you go.
Well, when I fight the wall of flesh, it really reminds me of the inevitability
Ooh.
of sort of this impending doom that that politics in general bring, in my opinion, right? Of this this wall. It almost seems like we can't get past it, because every time we do get past it, it just pulls us back to the other side, right?
Oh
And
my
so it's sort
goodness.
of this wall of just doom, and in the face of this giant wall that nobody can pass through, we often feel powerless and feel defenseless against this wall of fear and fear mongering, and all of these various things that politicians use, and thus us as citizens and voters, we feel powerless in the wake of this ginormous wall that we are being faced with in today's modern age of politics.
That's fucking good. That is fucking good.
AP Lit helps too.
My gosh, yeah,
Just
there
come
you
up
go.
with symbolism after symbolism.
On
after
the spot,
symbolism.
yeah, on the
Yeah.
spot. Jeez, dude, that was a good one. That did not go where I thought it was going, like, gosh. But it was so
Thanks.
good. Like, it covered
I
yeah, there you
appreciate it.
go. My gosh. whenever I defeat Skeletron and go down into the dungeons,
Mm-hmm.
it just reminds me of the political landscape in America right now. Because no matter which part of the dungeons you are, no matter what kind of treasures you find, no matter the
Mm-hmm.
riches, and in fact, no matter at what level you go down there, whether you go down there pre-hard mode, pre-Wall of Flesh, just even pre-Cthulhu in some instances, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if you go down there pre-mecha bosses,
Yeah,
pre-golem, it doesn't matter where, like when you go down there, there's always the possibility of death. There's always the possibility of something going wrong.
that's
And
true.
each and every time you go down there, you're attacked by faceless minions that just that just seemingly comes out of nowhere and attacks
Yeah.
you for no reason at all. And the only pretext is that they're angry and
Mm-hmm.
they they want to destroy you.
They
And
do.
American politics right now just feels like that, especially with the rise of social media and the subsequent battle of ideas that comes with it. That's the word I was
Mm.
looking for, by the way. Battle of ideas. That's the term that they use to essentially make it seem like they're the one who are willing to get into fair debate while they're actually not. But yeah, it just always feels like you're under attack by an unseen, like by a force that you just don't know. All you do know is that they're angry and they're coming right now.
Wow. Very poetic.
Yeah, there you go.
Very
45-minute mark, by the way. About a minute ago.
indeed. You know,
We're just talking about video games.
we really are.
Yeah.
Trying to think. I had one, but as I was listening to that, I was just so moved.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Shoot, what was it? I can't remember. Oh, yes, I do remember now. So, whenever I make Knight's Edge, right, I think it's really reminiscent of this sort of unity that's necessary to, using my previous example, right?
Right.
You see this impending wall of doom going towards you, right? You feel that you have nothing to do against it. However, it is possible to defeat it. Now, how do you defeat it? Well, one way of defeating it is using Knight's Edge, right? Now, Knight's Edge, what is Knight's Edge when you think about it? It's a combination of the 4 different swords, right? Which you can argue in this case is, well, I guess in the case of America, right, it would be the varying ideologies that are in play in America, right? You've got, your anarcho-communists, you've got your obviously your Democrats and Republicans, you've got your libertarians, all these different, parts of the spectrum, right? And what happens when you combine them all together? You get America, right? You get Knight's Edge, right? And this is what you use. You use this unity among all of these varying ideologies to defeat this impending wall of doom that you see in front of you, right? You defeat all of these, mean, vicious politicians that are attached to this wall, right? That are trying to eat you, right? They're called the hungry for a reason, right? Because they're hungry for power, right? So here they are trying to attack you, right? And you defeat them using Knight's Edge, this unity, right? Because we can't let our varying ideologies divide us, right? And so you use Knight's Edge and you defeat the eyes, right? The eyes of the government that watches you at all points of the day.
Yeah.
Right?
It's not just the eyes, it's the mouth too.
It's the mouth too.
It has a mouth, yeah.
It does have a mouth. Because
the mouth that eats away your freedom, bitch!
That eats away your freedom. And it's only through using Knight's Edge, otherwise known as the unity of the American people, that we can finally defeat this
monster. Oh my goodness. Wait. Oh my goodness. This is actually very nice. Okay. Okay, Neiman. One thing though.
Please.
That was a really moving thing. Right?
I'm glad.
Except every time I play Terraria, I go for a mage playthrough.
Oh yeah, no, you and me both. Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess the one
there.
cat, the little asterisk at the end is just
Yeah,
if you're doing a melee playthrough,
yeah.
right?
If you're doing Gamma, yeah. Unless it's the Demon Scythe, which represents Gen Z.
Yeah, Demon Scythe. Yeah, that's Gen Z right there.
Yeah.
You know, vicious
Oh
and
my goodness.
curvy, right? So,
Oh my
um,
gosh, this is so good.
is it
We can't.
great?
I'm gonna keep going. By the way, I'm gonna keep going.
Please.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh, I had such a good one. Okay, wait. Oh gosh darn it. Ooh, bitch, ew, bitch. Okay,
Oh yes, please.
my, I'm slowly. This is me being a political gay, right? Like this is
Great, great.
this is like I am bisexual, and this is me transition. Like I started out straight at the beginning of this pod, like the beginning of this episode. I slowly moved on to chaotic bisexual, and now I'm moving on to gay. Okay, shut up. Don't talk to me. All right.
It's
Okay,
okay.
okay. Whenever I get into hard mode and
Right.
I build myself a sky platform,
Oh yes,
and I
yes,
start fighting wyverns or
yes.
wyverns,
Wyvern. I think I don't
wyverns.
know how
All
to
right.
pronounce it.
Yeah.
Flying sky creatures.
Now, I don't think it's a coincidence that most of them are white, and the archwyvern happens to be orange.
That is true. That is
Okay?
true.
Now, hear me out in this. They come out of nowhere, they do a lot of damage. And whenever you try to attack them, all right, you have to be fast, you have to be quick, you have to be quick to take them down, all right? Because you never know what they might do, all right? Because the landscape you're on right now is so unstable and it slows you down so much, all right? Whenever you're off stable footing, you're just floating in thin air and you're easy pickings for these sly, stinky, you
Mm-hmm.
know, rich looking white wyverns who
Wow.
who play around, all right?
Yes.
Who play around,
Amen.
who dodge anything you throw at them, all right? Who are really sly and they come out of nowhere and they just hit you and they disappear for a while. And then you have only seconds before they come after you again. And you know, if you win,
Damn.
if you win, the rewards are high. But if you lose, oh boy, if you lose. But yeah, that's kind of what I was going for.
Ah, beautiful.
Yeah, there
Beautiful.
you go. I
And
kind of had something else in my mind, but this is the first thing that came to.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That was beautiful.
Would you
Beautifully
like to
done.
continue, or shall we stop now?
It's up to you. I mean,
It's up to
I
me.
I could very well. I wasn't kidding when I said I could go on for
All
hours.
right, let's do it. All right, this is that kind of episode. You know what? This is our version
Remainder.
of political commentary. All right,
That's right.
like
Yes.
we talk about all kind of random shit and mostly video games and shows, but you know the subtext. All right.
Yes. At least hopefully, right?
Mhm.
This probably is not ringing with anyone who doesn't play Terraria.
Oh yeah,
They're
no,
probably in the dark here. Like,
yeah,
um. So okay, let's see if I can throw in a Minecraft one in there then.
yeah. There we
Um.
go.
Let's see. So taming wolves, right?
Right.
So you
Oh
throw.
boy.
So so taming wolves is what ideally we want to do, right? Because we
Right.
see these poor creatures, these poor wolves in the woods, right? They're
Right.
lost, they're alone, they're very politically moderate, right?
Right.
um and so when you tame these wolves, right, using the bones of argumentation, right, you tame these wolves, and they love you, right? They you get the little heart thingies and whatnot,
Mhm.
and it's sort of, you know it's this way of bringing, people onto your side, right?
Yeah.
It's this way of, convincing people to be on your side and to be loyal to
Right.
you, right? And so in a way it's a little reminiscent of some tactics that some certain politicians have used of, throwing bones of not only argumentation, but bones of just, bones of racism
Ooh.
or bones of,
Ooh.
mass appeal,
Ooh.
and
Yeah.
throwing it to the masses until you get these loyal, you know, never ending, wolves that
Yeah. And
are just,
even if you punch the shit out of them, they're still loyal to you.
that's right,
Yeah.
completely subservient without question, right? All you have to do is right click them and they sit, right? All you have to do is do a
Mhm.
hand gesture and they'll listen to anything you say. Anything that comes out of your mouth, they'll listen to. So, taming wolves.
Yeah. There you go. You know, I've recently created a Minecraft world.
Did you?
Oh yeah. And I ended up spawning in the jungle. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
And I found a nice little hill actually and made a clearing. And like I started growing trees and on it to make it look better, and like, I was really coming up with a nice, ambient home for myself. You know? And nearby I found a bunch of, cocoa seeds. I found some cocoa.
Mm-hmm.
And I began a cocoa farm. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what it reminded me of?
Mm-hmm.
The colony of Haiti. Mind you, this was all the way back about 300 years ago when Haiti was still a French colony.
Right.
And mind you, it was essentially a slave society. Right? Most of the residents living there were slaves, and they weren't given proper clothing, proper food, and whenever one died or was maimed or just couldn't work anymore, right? They were simply replaced. Instead of actually providing good working conditions for them, they simply imported more slaves from Africa, right? And I'm back.
Welcome back. I marked it
Very
again.
nice. I marked it. I marked it on my end as well. It's 57 minutes and 17 seconds. Very nice. Yeah, as soon as I started talking about Haiti, boom, the government cuts off my internet.
That's
Well,
right. They just,
relevant, pretty relevant, yeah.
yeah.
So it ended up becoming a hierarchical society, essentially. All right.
Mm-hmm.
This hierarchy was like it was a hierarchy like this. All right.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, there was the unseen people who were ruling from the top, all right? These were people all the way back in France who owned land here, all right? And then there were the the whites that were there to oversee the colony, essentially, to oversee the land, to
Mm-hmm.
oversee the different kind of stuff. Then there were the people of color who were actually free, one way or another. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these were the people who had a white ancestor, who, because the colony didn't have much woman in its early days, so women of color were essentially systematically raped, and it produced an entire class of people who had power, but it wasn't the same kind of power as the whites, right? And then, of course, there were the slaves. And it really got me thinking about that society, and it, you know, like the slave revolts and the current, political climate of that nation aside,
Yes.
um, it really got me thinking on how mostly South African nations nowadays work, especially nations in the coffee belt, because this was a nation that produced 25% of France's economy at the time. All right, it like the revolts there literally pushed Napoleon to sell Louisiana. Like that's the effects of this of losing this colony. All right, and it was producing like all these kinds of luxury stuff. You know, indigo, which was used for dyes. You know, it was used to produce sugar, but it was used to produce coffee as well. All right. Now, keep in mind, harvesting coffee is a really hard process and it has to be done by hand.
Right, right.
Right. And the companies that essentially, hire people to harvest coffee don't pay these people very much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. And recently, I've actually taken a English class, and I've talked about this before. And my final was writing a few paragraphs about a piece of writing that talked about modern forms of slavery, right? And we can see actually modern forms of slavery all over the world, whether this be in the sweatshops in China,
Mm-hmm.
in Bangladesh,
Mm-hmm.
with the Kardashian brand, you know, but especially in the South African nations where the American government essentially sponsored other governments and let their own companies roam free among their people,
Yeah.
right? And it creates a system where the people are bound to the land they're working on, right?
Mm.
It's in a way of indentured servitude, all right?
Right,
Even
right.
though it's not called that, all
Mm-hmm.
right? Where they're forced to work off their debts, all right?
Yeah.
Which never happened to go away, mind you,
Mm-hmm.
all right? And like the cocoa beans in Minecraft really remind me of
Yes,
that.
they do.
By the way, hour mark.
Wow. Wow, that
Wow.
was the longest one yet.
Oh
My
yeah.
goodness.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
I
planned this out in my mind,
No, I
but
bet you did.
I
No,
couldn't
yeah.
come up with anything. Then I thought cocoa beans. Ooh, Haiti. Ooh, modern slavery. Ooh, like.
That's improv for you,
Yeah. There
right?
you go. Yeah, that's improv. That's improv melded in with my ADHD, melded with my no bullshit political attitude.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
There you go.
I I think that's a good place to end.
Yeah.
I think that's
Nice.
a
Okay.
on that note, right?
On that note, yeah.
Of
Thank you very much for listening. Uh, yeah, yeah. Thank you very much for listening. Don't
yes.
take any shit from your government. Please send us
Period.
questions. Please send us
Period.
questions, whether it be anonymous or not. Um, and
Period.
period. Yeah, there you go. Thank you very much for listening. Any other remarks, Nina?